You ever have this problem where you just have a bunch of used sanding discs and you don't know what grit they are and they like to fall on the floor, and if you use compressed air around them, they just blow away? In this video, we're going to make a sandpaper organizer that you can use on your wood lathe or other places in the shop. This idea came from the president of my woodturning club, Kent Durst, so thank you, Kent. And I decided I wanted to build one of these because I need some organization, especially with my sandpaper. So I picked up one of these magnetic tool holder bars from Harbor Freight. They run about $5. They're not too expensive. You can sometimes even get them on a deal. And I need a way to hook some sandpaper to this. And so I'm going to use some Velcro or some hook and loop strips to put that on there, because a lot of the sanding discs that I use have hook and loop on them. So I'll pry that apart, and I only want the hook side because the sandpaper is mostly the loop side, so it'll work out great. So we'll get rid of that, and I need to find a way to attach it to the back side of this, which is the painted side, not the magnet side. The magnet side I'm going to stick to the lathe. If you have some hook and loop with the sticky back on it already, you know what, that'll save you a whole lot of headache. And so if you want to go ahead and purchase that, go ahead, then you don't have to glue this on. But since these strips were free to me, I'm going to go ahead and use them, and I'll just peel them apart here and get set up. And I'm going to use hot glue to put them on because I figured that's probably a good glue that's going to hold to fabric and pretty well to the metal. And if it doesn't work so well, I'll let you know, but we'll see how it goes here. With the hot glue gun all warmed up, we can begin to stick these strips onto the back here. And I'll put a little bit of glue around the hole and then make a couple of lines here, trying to see if that will work. But when you're using hot glue, you want to make sure you have an ample amount on there, because the bigger the bead of glue that you put down, the more time it has before it gets cold. So this one I stuck on there and noticed it's going to come right off of there. So I'll just go ahead and put some more glue on. It's not a problem. This glue will actually help heat up the other glue. We should be able to stick it down well now. And that feels pretty secure. So we'll go on to the next one. And I decided instead of a couple lines, I'll just put a squiggly line all the way across with a whole bunch of glue and see how that goes. And that seemed to work pretty well. I got a really good stick every time when I did this method. So we'll do that again, a squiggly line, and then just keep going from there all the way down. When I got down to the end, my strip of Velcro or hook and loop was a little bit long, so I'm going to have to do some trimming. So just get out some little scissors here and line everything up. And I can just kind of pinch it with the scissors and bring it up where I can handle it a little bit better and cut off that end piece. And now I'm ready to glue that one on as well. So let's go ahead and set that aside for now and talk about sanding discs. Now I like to use 2-inch sanding discs with the hook and loop back, and they punch these out when they make them, and sometimes they'll have the printing of what grit it is on the back, and sometimes they won't. So a lot of times, as soon as I bring them out of my organizer, I go ahead and write on them with a Sharpie marker so I know what grit they are. That way I don't have any confusion. And sometimes the Sharpie marker actually helps so that if you get sawdust on them and things like that, it shows up a little bit better so you can see that. I'm just going to go ahead and stick these onto our bar right now and make sure I have enough room for everything. I want to go 80 grit through 400 grit, or maybe even more than that, because these are the grits that I use the most. And I want to have those all within reach and know where they're at. And it looks like I can space these out, and I can go all the way up to 600 grit. There's a space here on the end. Now I could just stick these pieces of sandpaper on here and just hope that I get them back in the right spot every time. But to me, that kind of seems like it would be like herding cats. And if you've ever done that, don't. So I'm going to go ahead and label these. And I've got a label maker in the shop, and it's a useful tool that I think everyone should have. And we're going to go ahead and label each grit so that I know where they're all going to go. And to save on material for the labels, I'll just type them all in one line and put a couple spaces in between, and then I'll print them out in one big long strip that I can cut apart. And there's nothing really fancy here, just cut off the end and then cut it in between each number. And then as you bring it up, just peel off the backing, remove the sandpaper, and put that label spaced out on the top of the bar in a place that you can look down and see where to put your sandpaper every time you look at it. And that way you can't get mixed up. And so that's basically it for our project today. If you like this idea and you want to see more videos like this, help me out with the algorithm and hit like and subscribe if you would. I'm Jason Geiser, and this has been Geiserwoodturner. Thanks for hanging out with me in the shop today, and we'll see you soon.